on a paid live stream or supported money, live stream supported by money. I guess that's commercial, then you don't actually own the copyright.
And he says there's no comments, but I definitely wrote a comment to him, so maybe he's done it, because I've been working with Sunno for quite a bit. I've got a lot of Sunno songs. I'm a sort of a songwriter now. I use Sunno to develop, retain memories. I think that's the best way I can do it. If I don't want to forget something, I will write a song about it. So I do have experience with Sunno. It's a wonderful thing, and I think more people should do it. It's all copywritten. It's my stuff. I bought it, so I don't need to worry about any copyright stuff from any of my stuff. But listen to what's coming now. This is within the song that One Deck placed within Nathan Oakley. Here we go. Right, so here you go. Simple song. You'll hear Nathan Oakley repeat it. You'll hear Whitsitt repeat it. This has been ingrained in people's minds, and since we're talking about the fourth law, which is of reason and consequent, sort of like the forming of an argument. And we did say this quite a bit ago. We told QE to make a t-shirt with Emma says, mind your P's and Q's. Well, the P is the antecedent and the Q is the consequent. Sort of a basic grounding in how you understand logic and how you form thoughts. I'll just put this back again a little bit. Right, so basically, if the Earth is flat, then we would measure it flat. It's a P and your Q, right? So if the Earth was flat, P, then we would measure it flat, Q, consequent. We do measure it flat, affirming the Q, therefore Earth is flat. So basically, again, I'll do it back again. So you can hear Nathan Oakley say this, but this is Nathan Oakley's opening song for his Flat Earth debate show, which he now says there's no debate. But you'll hear this.
What's the format here? Are you just opening for a while and then we talk, or how's this work?
Well, we're just going over the P's and the Q's of Nathan's the song at the minute. Do you
no dialogue right now, or dialogue?
What do you want to say?
Well, it's just not measured flat, so therefore, if it,
Yeah, I know it's not measured flat. I've told him that. We went over it last week.
You're on the globe side now?
Week.
Congratulations.
Yeah, tis globe. Tis globe, man. He's always been a glober.
No, he hasn't.
But basically, I think right now he's debunking Nathan Oakley.
Yeah, we're just going over the fourth law.
Yeah. No, Beth has told me for many times that elevation follows a horizontal plane.
What?
You've told me repeatedly. Elevation.
Say that again.
You told me.
Say that again.
You've told me repeatedly.
Nonsense.
You've told me repeatedly. Elevation follows a horizontal plane.
I've never said that. I mean, that elevation doesn't follow a horizontal plane, does it? It goes up,
up
and down. It changes.
No. Like if you stay at the same elevation, it's not a plane. It's not a flat line. If you stay at the same elevation and move different places,
you're just moving around. You're allowed to move around,
right? And if you like move, like say for example, a quarter across the Earth at the same elevation, you're not following a horizontal plane. You're following a curve.
Right? That's your belief, is it?
See, he's a flat earther. I told you.
No. Definitely, I'll tell you now. The horizontal distances prove globe. So you can imagine whatever you want, right? But we're doing now of reason and consequence. So what reason do you have for coming here to do what you're doing at the minute? Everybody knows it's a globe, right?
Yep. Everybody knows
no.
An oblate. Okay. It's an oblate spheroid.
So what we're doing now is pointing out that people that have been in this arena for 10 years plus have been using certain words to describe logic and fallacy. But do they really understand these words? Have they actually learned? Or do they just use words as weapons, because other people can't imagine what they're talking about? That's what we're going over here, is the basics of logic. So we've just heard Nathan Oakley's opening song for his thing that states, if the Earth is measured flat, we would measure it flat. We measure it flat, therefore the Earth is flat. It's just a very simple P and Q relationship, which is sort of the fundamentals of understanding. Now, if you break it down into a P and a Q and follow that chain of reasoning, you will find out, right, that particular statement has a name for it, which, should be known by these people, but it seems like they're completely unaware of how the words that they use tell a story about what's going on in the thoughts and, the minds of them and how they process that information. I've been fascinated by it for years, how people can imagine certain things about you and whatever they think your model is. It's fascinating to me. So do you want to hear it again? Or listen to this. Right, so is it an added on one, just to point out that you can't assume that Earth's a sphere, but when you measure it flat, it contradicts that, whatever that means, because it's something that you're not allowed to do. But when you measure it flat, it contradicts the thing that you're not allowed to do, which doesn't make any sense at all. But it's a song that Nathan Oakley's been opening his show to recently, ever since his little bust up with QE and Adam, because his old intro guy was Adam Meakin, obviously, and he can't use that stuff anymore. So One Deck gave him this song and somebody else gave him a load of AI stuff, which is even funnier when we go over. We might have to go over that as well at some point. Nathan Oakley's AI help from the song. Now, can I... There was a clip. I don't know whether Nathan put it out today or whenever, but this is on my phone. Tell a story about what's going on in the... Right, here we go. Listen to this. Oh.
Measure it flat. We do measure it flat, therefore it is flat. Flat is how you would measure it. If it was flat, you can measure it flat. We do measure it flat, therefore it is flat.
Okay.
Flat is how you would measure it. If it was flat, you can measure it flat. We do measure it flat, therefore it is flat.
Right, so that's just confirmation that this thing that One Deck has placed in a song that he gave to Nathan Oakley, that Nathan Oakley opens his show, he's sort of repeating it verbatim from what was put, and whether, I don't know whether it's One Deck's fault or whatever, but that's just the
power
way
of a
it
good
is.
hook. I mean,
Yeah.
One Deck, that's a good hook. He put it in there. It's, it sticks in people's mind. They buy the album, the single, and all that. That's what the hook's about, and it's a good one. This
repetition,
but
repetition just keeps
just
going
mantra.
over eventually.
Just like an AI song, right? Not like he wrote a song.
it is an AI. He wrote the lyrics. One Deck wrote the lyrics, and threw an AI on the, the free version, I think.
Yeah.
And it gave him a tune, and
Nathan. It's about the roast chicken. If Earth was a roast chicken, right? I mean, I put
finger licking.
When I heard it, I thought it was like a joke. It was a fallacy song, but Nathan put it as his opening tune, and then started repeating it as though it's some sort of an argument. But
maybe
maybe
it's like a mantra.
Yeah.
Like something you chant.
Yeah, because of the lack of logic being taught in any of these things, even people like Nathan Oakley that have been to a private school aren't really aware of this logical understanding, because you would have been taught the trivia, surely, at these schools, grammar schools, private education, as Nathan Oakley has. So, it would seem strange once you understand what's going on here.
I think they did teach him to drop his H's. I noticed. Have you noticed that when he talks? He drops his H's a lot. Appen, Harry. Good grammar he was taught. Dictation.
Is that like bad? Is that bad? Incorrect British speaking?
Well, it's not indicative of somebody with a higher education that Nathan says. He has superior education to most of the people around him. I mean, everybody he says is intimidated by him. Mm-hmm. And, he underlines that by saying that he, when all the other plebs went to public school, which I guess in the States is a different thing. But here in the UK, a public school is a private school, a fee-paying private school. So when he says he went to a public school, that's what he's saying. And he says, all these other people had a cheap public education. So he says he's superior because of it, because of his education. But there's lots of things that don't really back that up. One of them being that he was at a secondary school. The secondary school is, as it says, it's secondary. It's not high school. It's not the primary. It's a secondary level of education for those who didn't meet the requirements of being able to go to a higher education establishment. So, it's hard to believe some of his stories, really.
Well, I'm at a disadvantage. You guys use totally different words than we do in the States.
Yeah, they're spelled differently.
Like public school is like the government school.
Yeah.
The one that everybody goes to.
School.
And then secondary education, we just call that's like high school. So it's what when you're 16, you just go to secondary school.
Well, it has changed. I mean, when he makes reference to secondary, there was secondary and there was grammar school. That's how it was in the UK. And then you used to have to take a test, which may have been called the 11 plus, or you may have sat it at 13. And then you missed your chance at 11, but you could have taken it at 13 and and started in the third year in a grammar school, or you may have won a scholarship. But generally, there was a test called the 11 plus. And if you passed that, you're eligible to go to grammar school, higher education. And the rest just went to the secondary school. And they changed that system to comprehensive. But it was kind of one body of education. I mean, there's still private schools or public schools where, the leaders go, the prime ministers, the captains of industry, to places like Eton, Harrow, Gordonston, places like that. Where Prince Charles went to Gordonston. That's Scottish public school. It's a private fee-paying private school. Nathan said he was at a secondary school where he was the only white guy there. So he has said he was at a secondary school. So that tells me he wasn't in a grammar school. He wasn't in the higher education stream. He was like all the rest of the plebs that he's talking about. Pleb being a private school, public school term for the underlings, the plebs, the Hebes.
I've heard of pleb.
And yeah, plebeian and Hebians. There's a lower class of people. So he does say that about. He does say that a lot. You haven't had the benefit of a private school education like he has. But
well, do you think maybe people are intimidated of him because of his amazing fighting skills?
Well, I'm not intimidated by him on any level. I mean, he says he's built like a brick shit house. He's a monster of a man and all that kind of thing. But he
has threatened me with physical violence. So, I mean, I am only a small guy. I can't really help much. And Nathan has threatened me with physical violence. But do I feel intimidated? Nah.
No,
I don't think so. It's Nathan Oakley. He's a flat earther.
Haven't you seen him punch his fist? I've seen him punch his fist on camera. It looked pretty hard. I was nervous.
So are you scared then? Are you intimidated by him? By seeing his punching?
Yeah, a little bit. That the punch
you
was
were okay. Don't worry. He's not all that. I mean, the truth is, in reality, when you meet somebody, that's the truth. Not somebody who tells you, that you're intimidated and that he would break your nose and stamp on your head if he saw you and you ever mentioned sphere or said that the earth wasn't measured flat. I mean, he threatens physical violence, and more recently, he's aware of all his monsters, and he rolled out one of his favorite monsters, which was the one that is threatening sexual violence on men, man on man.
The anal fisting incident?
Yes.
Can we don't need to do this. This is about the argument, right? Basically, it's about, because this only got mentioned with his education, because he has stated that he was taught about logic and the trivium when he was in private school. So pointing out the fact that this Nathan forming this... don't know. Would you call it an argument? Would you guys call it an argument? If the earth was flat, we would measure it flat. We measure it flat, so the earth is flat. Would you class that as an argument being presented? Or even a claim?
I think Nathan would, because, whenever you say if, he'll stop you and say, oh, it's not an if-then statement. He's very well aware of if you say if, then you're into an if-then statement, and he wants to avoid that kind of thing.
But hasn't Nathan also stated that there is no argument? So, I mean, that would negate the fact that that's an argument, surely. If there's no argument,
you think so?
How could that possibly be an argument?
Well, I'm not sure what he would describe it as then.
Right, so on screen, what we've got is this is another stream from another one of the I think he's claimed to be one of Nathan Oakley's debate partners, because he's been hanging around with Nathan quite a lot. And this is Roger Ledwell. He's got a microphone from Nathan Oakley. He sent it all the way to America. Now, he went over this the other day from one of his friends. Let's see whether it makes it. Please don't take this, girl. It's a video that he was reviewing. So Roger, it's a pretty simple fallacy, isn't it? Affirming the consequent. Do you know what affirming the consequent? I mean, the woman talked about something about a dog barking, that there being an intruder. But does anybody know a better example for anyone within the arena of affirming the consequent? Might sound a little bit familiar.
Give us the burger one, Bev. The burger.
Well, anybody else got any other, examples of an affirming the consequent?
Yeah, the burger. I eat a burger. I'm hungry, so I eat a burger. Something. That's the usual one he always uses.
Yeah. What about if the Earth was flat, we would measure it flat, and then stating we do measure it flat, therefore the Earth is flat. Would that not be affirming the consequent? A bit more, familiar to this arena than people using examples of dogs or burgers, right? So let's take it as it's said, right? If the Earth is flat, P, antecedent, then we would measure it flat, Q, consequent. We do measure it flat, affirming of the Q statement, which is the consequent. It's literally an affirming the consequent. Nathan's song that he's been having in his thing. I mean, if anybody wants to, come up and defend Nathan Oakley and One Deck and Witsit for this, is it an argument? If the Earth is flat, we would measure it flat. We measure it flat, so the Earth is flat. Is that an argument? Is that how arguments are constructed? Or is it just
it was
an example
as an argument?
Well, I think it's just an example of an affirming the consequent. Myself.
Yeah, it was presented as an argument, though, also by somebody else. But
well, yeah.
I mean, Nathan, he will say it very quickly. He says it, it's affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. He likes to say that a lot, whenever he comes across one himself. So he's pretty aware of what that is, and yet he has one himself, but he doesn't seem to have scrutinized it very well.
Yeah, I mean, did One Deck give it him? Or is it something that he's developed because he's axiomated the Earth being measured flat as some sort of I don't know whether he's took ownership of horizontal or how Nathan exactly has done it. We've been trying to ask him, but it seems as though the outcome is that Nathan Oakley and his friends have fallen into an affirming the consequent within their own reasoning. And how would you get out of that? Because he's built everything around it. What else has Nathan got other than this blatant example of an affirming the consequent? I mean, it's a better example of affirming the consequent than this woman's got. In fact, if you wanted to teach somebody exactly how an affirming the consequent works, you could do it within the mind of a flat earther, like Nathan Oakley. What would you would hope that he's not put this in his book, has he? All right, could he copyright this, affirming the consequent?
Do you guys know what time Nathan's showing up?
Nathan's not,
or like it's one of his delegates coming to respond to this.
They won't. They won't come here.
Won't come.
They can't. They won't.
We've got a few more things, right? But let's listen to what Roger explains about how his example. Let's take Roger's example of the affirming the consequent, because he says it's pretty simple. So let's just listen to Roger again. Oh. If the Earth's flat, the Earth is flat. We measure it flat. We do measure it flat. Pretty simple. It fell down, therefore gravity. How would you make that into an affirming the consequent, right? Because the consequent would be gravity. And Roger's reasoning of his affirming the consequent would go, it fell down, therefore gravity. Gravity, therefore it fell down.
So the Cavendish experiment goes sideways, though, right? Uh-oh.
So what's that got to do with affirming the consequent? That's got nothing to do with the affirming the consequent that we're talking about.
It kind of does. It kind of does. It goes sideways, therefore gravity. Gravity, therefore it goes sideways, right?
You would. Well,
I don't know.
Well, you would then present another argument.
Is that?
No, I think that see.
That's just another affirming the consequence.
Most of the time, people try to make that case. Believe
you're trying to make a case for affirming the consequent, Omni.
So most of the time, people who try to make that case believe there's some other reason things fall down. Like
Omni, stop, right? What we're trying to point out here is that there is an affirming the consequent. Are you saying that you're going to bring another affirming the consequent into the fray? Like, are we coming up with examples of affirming the consequent?
We could probably come up with one. If that's what we're doing.
Would it be better than Rogers?
Probably not.
No.
But Roger didn't come up with one. He just borrowed one. Is that a girl named Roger? I don't know who all the players are. I don't know who Roger is.
No. Roger's the guy that's commenting about it. You don't know. Yeah.
Top flat earth dog. Yeah. He's an acolyte of Nathan Oakley, so it's quite pertinent really to put these together, and because he will have learned these kinds of things from the subject matter expert Nathan himself. So this is how it works. This is how the knowledge is passed on. Handed
Roger
down.
Is a girl?
Rogers is a man, but he was talking to somebody
with the dog story.
Well, he was talking to somebody who presented this lady who was presenting a lot of logical fallacies and explaining the different ones. And this one that's been flipped out here is the one about affirming the consequent as an example. It's not Roger, just somebody that they got on a YouTube from a YouTube.
So if I'm following this, Nathan made an argument, and then Nathan has a follower named Roger. Roger has a show. He had a person on his show. The person on Roger's show had talked to another person who made the dog analogy. That's this girl we're watching.
They're going over. They're going over what an affirming the consequent fallacy is. The flat earthers over at Roger Legwell's.
And now we're going over it. So we're like,
well, no.
Shared.
No, we're just pointing.
Roger,
we're pointing out.
Girl.
We're pointing out that the flat earthers
I just note that the affirming the consequent discussion is usually held by people
affirming the consequent
for whatever
logical.
reason.
Omni, what are you talking about?
There is.
Omni, can you not hear Bev's talking?
Is he hot micing?
I hear you talking right there.
Right, well, we're doing a show about affirming the consequent, Omni. Why are you talking?
Yeah, Omni, this is Bev's show. You can't talk through Bev on his own show.
Oh, dear. Okay. All right.
Do you give, hey, I heard that when you do a show, Riggs will give you the mute right, so you can just mute people at will.
I could do, yeah, but I don't particularly want to do that because I want to. I could mute you as well. But I don't want to. I want to be able to show people how we can learn about basic logical understanding, right? Nathan Oakley has been talking about affirming the consequent for quite a long time, fair few years, right?
I feel
QE made a modus tollens that we pointed out that there was a problem with the P's and the Q's, the antecedent and the consequent. And seeing as this is an arena where people talk about proof and science and cause and effect, antecedent, consequent, logical understanding, it would help if the flat earthers at least wouldn't pass on fallacies as well, I think it's their main argument, but it's not even an argument, it's just a fallacy. And when you find out that the best the flat earthers now have is one of the most basic fallacies that you could ever commit, I mean, it doesn't leave much, does it?
No, it really doesn't.
Where does the arena go once you find out that the flat earthers don't have anything?
I just focus on proving the oblate spheroid.
Yeah, proving the globe.
Yeah, the oblate spheroid.
That's what I call it. Easy to do, right?
Yeah. Do you believe in the oblate spheroid?
The globe, of course, has to be, right?
I believe in the globe and the oblate spheroid. Do you believe in both or just one of them?
Is the oblate spheroid a non-Euclidean shape?
Yes, of course. So is the globe.
Of course. It doesn't need believing about then, does it? Because you can find a proof for it. There's no need for belief when you know.
It's cool.
That's
so you
what
believe
Nathan
Earth
Oakley's
is
been as well.
So you believe Earth is an but hold on. So you believe Earth is an spheroid?
Globe. I know.
Do you know
globe.
I know that wasn't my question though. It says yes or no question, or it could be I'm not sure. But do you believe Earth is most closely described as an oblate spheroid?
Well, I know that you most closely describe it as an oblate spheroid. I would most closely describe it as a non-Euclidean shape globe.
Okay, so you don't.
That's what I would.
You don't subscribe to oblate spheroid theory.
Well, you said oblate spheroid is a non-Euclidean shape.
Correct. Yeah, you can still believe in non-Euclidean shape.
Different. I don't need to believe it's non-Euclidean, though. That's the problem, right? You just give it a further name, right? I just don't do that. I just stick with the simple what I know to be true.
Well, you did give it a name. You gave it a name of globe, but then for some I don't understand why you don't like my name. I like your name's fine, globe. That generally would work.
Okay.
But you seem resistant to the oblate spheroid thing, which is fine. You don't have to believe in it.
Yeah, false idols and all of that. I don't go with that sort of stuff.
Like,
right,
what do you mean?
We've got another bit for Nathan here as well. We're keeping this for a bit. Right, so this is Nathan Oakley. And this is sort of an example of what happens when I think the mind takes on this, I don't know, what would you call it? Like a contradiction, really. Because if you imagine that affirming the consequent is some sort of an axiomatic proof of flat Earth, then you are wrapped up in a contradiction, like in the mind, and that normally leads to madness. And I would give you an example of how that madness takes shape. So have a listen to this. We'll go over it a couple of times. Right, so orbits, strangely enough, and whatever other things he decided, something about the sky moving around us, you know, the sky. So Nathan believes that all of these things are originated from a flat Earth. Right, now, listen to this. Can't believe he's in a ball. Step one. Don't believe you're in a ball. Even though, you know, everybody knows about the celestial sphere. And that, you know, that's something that is known. Even the flat earthers put the celestial sphere as a firmament above them. You know, but Nathan can't believe he's in that concept. And can't be on a ball either. And so he can't believe you're in a ball and you can't be on a ball. So where does that leave the Oakleyites? You know, what are they meant to think? It's measured flat. You're not in a ball. Or you're not on a ball. What does Nathan have left? Right, so the latitudes are measurements from inside the ball, but he can't believe that he's inside a ball. Now, the problem here is Nathan's never measured anything. So he doesn't know that you measure an angle to Polaris to find your latitude. Now, he's not allowed to believe that he's in a ball when he's measuring the angle that he says he's measured from within a ball. But he can't believe he's in a ball because he's never measured an angle. No one. So he can't imagine himself on a ball, and he can't believe he's in a ball. So where's Nathan Oakley? Where is he? What's he doing? He's a flat earther that has no position. He doesn't know what he believes.
He does tell his audience that he is in this, you know, the center of hell.
Hell, yeah.
He presents himself as being inside the ball, which he calls the center of hell. So he's at the center of hell, and that's inside the ball because he talks about the protractor above him. He's always describing himself.
Pictures of himself
being inside a ball.
Inside a ball all day.
Yeah.
And whenever he's doing anything, whenever he's not showing himself.
On the screen for my viewers right now.
Yeah.
He says. And he shows that. He showed that. Yeah. In fact, all of his, pretty much all of his slideshow is represented that way. It's representative of the flat earth is inside a ball. But he can't believe he's inside a ball. So I don't know quite what you're meant to make of that, what you take away from that, really, apart from a belief and just a blind belief that he must know what he's talking about. He's intimidating, so let's go along with it.
Yeah, but he has banned us recently.
He punched his fist once.
Well, his intellectual prowess of, being able to hand flat earthers and affirming the consequent as their main proof. I mean, if I were to be asked, right, as an example of affirming the consequent, I believe the measuring it flat, affirming the consequent, would be the best example that you could possibly give to anyone. Because people will say, of course you don't measure it flat. It's like, well, if you were to have construct a proper argument, that would be exposed immediately. But in 2026, because nobody really understands logic and the formulation of an argument and the antecedent consequent, because they're weird words that people don't really use. But the measuring it flat is a perfect example that people can understand. You just put the if statement as the antecedent and the then statement as the consequent. That's how logic works. If then. Mind your P's and Q's has a real meaning. And it means make sure that your antecedent consequent relationship is precisely the one that you want to explain. Because the argument will be built up upon these facts of how they are connected together. Which, I don't think people have been taught taught how to form an argument, which is really strange because we're in is it really strange? We're in an arena where Nathan Oakley, Flat Earth Debate, and there's also another server that's also been around for quite a while, Gem Panda's server, called Debate Flat Earth and More, and this server that we're in here, Worldwide Debates. I don't know whether that debate framing has ever been formulated with an argument in any of these rooms officially, and I think that's half of the problem. Nathan's been allowed to do this. He's been the groundwork was laid by QE, who formulated a fallacious modus tollens called the Black Swan, that nobody really pointed out the fallacy. They allowed it to go on. And this is a consequence of that understanding, that now Nathan Oakley is affirming the consequent as his best argument, his best proof. And of course, there will be no flat earthers ever to be able to discuss this. I doubt Nathan Oakley will even be able to discuss it. How can Nathan Oakley possibly discuss the best example of an affirming the consequent fallacy when it's his best proof.
And, yeah, I think he can't. He can't address it. But I think of it similar as like how you can't answer my question about Earth being an oblate spheroid.
You can call it that. What difference would it make if I agreed with you?
I don't know. You don't have to. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I was just asking you to answer the question, but you couldn't even say.
I said it's a non-Euclidean shape.
Yeah, you answered a different question.
We agreed that it is a non-Euclidean
but
shape.
If somebody asks you a question, like if somebody says, "Hey, is your dog a golden retriever?" and then I say, my dog is a dog or something else, right? They just don't answer the question. That's like a little weird, right?
You know what leading questions are?
Wasn't the reason and consequence of your question?
I do know what leading questions are, yes.
Sorry.
The reason and consequence of your the reason and consequence of your question, and you've already done it, was to claim that somebody's a flat earther. And you did it a little earlier. You did it a little earlier that when Bev didn't answer to your expectation, so that's because you're a flat earther. And that seems to be the reason and the consequence of your particular questioning. Is to arrive at that position.
That's false. I think you misheard the conversation. The way the conversation went, I asked a question.
Do you agree that the shape is called this?
Yeah, and then the answer could be yes or no.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how you conclude.
It's not. The question was, if you rewinded, the question I asked was, do you believe that the shape of Earth is best described generally as an oblate spheroid?
I said
it's a yes, I believe that, or no, I don't believe that.
I think the best description is a non-Euclidean shape.
Hello, we're having a live stream here.
What's up, No Tanks?
The usual characters.
What is a non-Euclidean shape?
A globe.
Yes, it's a different question.
He just said it's a globe.
Yeah, a globe is a
globe is the
shape.
word he used to associate with non-Euclidean shape. It's kind of like saying
no, globe is a non-Euclidean shape.
Bev is a round earther.
But this isn't got anything to do with affirming the consequent, unless you want to place it in a affirming the consequent sort of.
That's fine. You can move on. You can move on.
Would you like to add to affirming the consequent? Do you think you can make your statement about whether you agree with the shape? Do you it wasn't get a statement. That into an affirming the consequent.
I would try not to do an affirming the consequent, but mine was just a question.
Okay. Yeah.
And you answered it. It. Thank you.
Do questions get you anywhere really without the answer or without a demo? Like a demonstration of what we're all talking about. Everybody can be schizophrenic and just sit here and say fucking words and act like somebody got the one up on a word.
Just give you a demonstration of an affirming the consequent, though.
Yeah, you guys are all saying the word shape. That affirmed consequent right there.
No. We're talking about the Nathan Oakley thing. That was just an aside that some guy wanted me to affirm his understanding.
So what's the Nathan Oakley thing? He's saying rise over run. He's saying flat. What about rise over run is wrong?
He says,
how in physics is that wrong?
He says, if the Earth was measured flat, we would measure it flat. We do measure it flat, therefore the Earth is flat. That's Nathan Oakley and Wandek and Whitsitt. And I don't know, maybe other flat earthers, maybe
parallel and perpendicular only work on a flat plane of reference, right? Whether you got fucking hills or not, stupid. Ain't nobody talking about hills and mountains, dumbass. Well, the fucking plane you live on is a big flat sandbox. We're dealing with the sandbox only stops at a depth. And
we're dealing with the affirming the consequence.
You understand what a horizontal is? So if I took a horizontal line on the wall, it's not going to be a perfect horizontal line. That horizontal line, when you microscopically zoom in, retard, is going to have imperfections. Call that your mountains. Call that your hills. Call that your valleys. Call that your hills. Welcome to flat Earth. You got your frills. Parallel and perpendicular. Fuck your
I know.
globe
You're just
hills.
using words like Nathan Oakley does. Well,
Yeah,
what
I
we're
know,
dealing
because
with
they're
here
real
is
words, stupid
the
fuck. They
affirming the
mean something.
consequent.
A plus sign means something. It has nothing to do with shape.
Do you
A line has
believe?
nothing to do with shape. A
Do you
straight fucking
believe?
line that's parallel has nothing to do with shape, retard. Perpendicular has
believe?
nothing to do with shape. Rise over run has nothing to do with your fucking idea of fucking shape. It
We're
is
going
what
over
it is.
Nathan
It
Oakley's
does what
affirming
it
the
does.
consequent.
What's rise over run mean to you? That it means
Nothing
affirming
at
rise
the
over
minute.
run?
We're trying to do the affirming the consequent. Now, Nathan Oakley states, if the Earth was measured flat, right, then, if the Earth was flat, then we would measure it flat. Do you agree with that?
The Earth's not what people are measuring. They're
you
measuring
agree?
the top of the surface of water, you fucking retard, dingleberry motherfucker. I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody's measured the Earth. Nobody's measuring Earth. Not one motherfucker has a drawing on the wall that matches Earth topography to say they measured fucking Earth.
That you find with
there is no Earth curve on the wall. The only line you can produce on a wall is a fucking straight one that makes any sense, or a vertical one,
all sorts of tangents.
or a diagonal
at
one.
the beginning here.
No, I know, but you're affirming all these ideas of shapes.
I'm not
and
affirming
this
anything.
shit.
I'm just trying to get to
Yeah,
understanding
on this
with
earth
you.
we live on the mashed potato shaped fucking thing we live on, retard.
Yeah. If
The
it
thing
was
we
flat,
use to measure our houses and to place things and to set things, a reference is made. The horizontal reference is the reference of Earth, you fucking retards. Maybe Nathan forgot to say that.
if
Maybe
anybody
it
knows
said
anything
the
about the
mountains don't
arena,
matter. The horizontal
this is
reference does.
one of
That's how you
the
get
types of
distance,
people that you would
elevation,
have to
speed, height,
deal with. I mean,
frame of
unfortunately,
reference.
he comes on and he does this all the time.
Yeah, we got retards like you that don't know how to fucking stop a retard combo from happening. Retard, can we get anywhere, bitch?
There you go. That's the best way to deal with Democ. Unfortunately, Democ is a flat earther that he won't answer the question. We're talking about statements that flat earthers have made, and he won't confirm whether at least he believes that if the Earth was flat, we would measure it flat. It's a simple.
I'll bet if I asked him if Earth was an oblate spheroid, he would be able to answer yes or no.
He can't answer. He's muted. Free Democ.
Yeah.
Maybe Democ can answer in chat if he believes Earth is an oblate spheroid, true or false.
But that's not anything to form an argument, is it? That's not a P and a Q statement of reason and consequence.
I agree.
Right?
I agree with that. He did answer.
That's what we're doing. We're
no.
just starting off with the very basics of logic here. I mean, obviously, we understand the law of identity, the excluded middle, and the non-contradiction, right? What we're dealing with here now is the fourth law of reason and consequence.
Sufficient reason? What's the? I don't know. I'm sorry, sir. What's the fourth? What's the principle of sufficient reason or something else? What's the fourth?
Of reason and consequence. You call it sufficient reason if you want. But the actual law is of reason and consequence. And it's the link between the antecedent and the consequent. How vital it is to mind your P's and Q's. We went into a journey through logic to understand this sort of stuff. It seems as though most people within the false dichotomy arena have fallen into a trap of not being able to form arguments or even understand the most basic reason and consequent relationship.
Yeah, Bev, a lot of people don't realize we took we took a Hillsdale College course on logic on your server. I don't think a lot of people came and joined us for any of that.
That was years ago, wasn't it? I mean, that journey that we went on from that point in time, studying logic, it's formed my understanding of where I am, right? I'm confident I've got a proof of globe. Nobody wants it though, because it relies on the fact that you can understand and start at the basics through logic to form a chain of reason that you can conclude that it's globe. And I can do that. I don't know whether I can explain that to anybody if we can't even agree on the antecedent consequent relationship of how you start your reasoning. The flat earthers definitely they've led themselves down a path where they're affirming the consequent. Nathan Oakley believes it's an axiom.
Well, it's circular, right? Which all definitions would be. But listen, I'm here for any definition.
What do you mean a definition circular? What does that mean?
Like a triangle is is the three interior angles adding up to 180 degrees. Well, what is a thing that's 180 degrees with a triangle? So it's a circle. It's circular. But I'm here to listen. So why don't you tell us the proof of globe?
No, I'll save that for another time. We're starting with the basics, the very simple basics of reasoning. Yeah.
Well, if there's a consequence, like if there's a reason that you've even reasoned, like what's the reason that you're even reasoning? Like that basic.
Well, you're at a place now, right? The chain of reasoning would go back. Where would it go back to? How far can you trace that chain of reasoning backwards from where you are right now? And how would you do that? Because every if then would be linked.
I would ask myself now, like, I don't want to take over the lesson, right? But I would ask myself, like, what's the necessary precondition for fill in the blank?
Yeah. What's the necessary precondition for Nathan Oakley?
To do logic, you'd have to accept some axioms anyway, right?
Yeah, and Nathan Oakley believes that if the Earth was flat, then we would measure it flat.
Well, we don't measure the Earth flat, therefore the Earth's not flat.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell Nathan Oakley that you don't measure the Earth flat, but somebody has allowed Nathan Oakley to believe that you do measure it flat. Everyone, always. Apart from him, he's never done it, but he believes everybody else has done it. Yeah.
Without exception. Every measurement on Earth is a flat measurement.
Yeah.
Well, every measurement.
Even entropy.
Entropy is now a measurement of flat Earth.
Time, that's flat Earth.
Time.
Like everything. Nathan Oakley took ownership of every measurement.
If it was true, then the necessary precondition for all of these actualized states was that reality was fundamentally Euclidean, and that would follow that all things that derive from the Earth, if the Earth is what's fundamental, would then be an expression of that, which would be flat. If the Earth was flat. It would just be true.
Every measurement of anything would affirm the consequent of Nathan Oakley's statement, right? It would be literally every measurement is an affirming the consequent for Nathan Oakley. That's what's wrong with
it. I mean, but these guys, like other people with other topics, like everything is made of atoms, right?
So therefore, it's no good. No, it's no good going to something else. This is Nathan Oakley's main point, his only point, that the Earth is measured flat. But the problem is with the statement, if the Earth is flat, then we would measure it flat. Any measurement that he considers measurement of flatness would be still affirming the consequent. That's the best outcome that Nathan Oakley has possible.
Yeah, but what's wrong with affirming the consequent?
We don't measure it flat.
Well, but according to him, even when we don't measure it flat, we're measuring it flat. So
yeah, exactly. Which would make it part of the affirming the consequent because of the way he's set it up and structured it. He's led himself into a fallacy, even with the best outcome he could possibly have. And I don't know how many other flat earthers are going to go along with it. They might have already done it, right? In their minds, they might believe that there is no argument that Nathan Oakley has measured the earth flat, even though he hasn't. And even though you can tell him that surveyors do not measure the earth flat. He's got a fallacy within his mind. How do you persuade somebody that's convinced themselves of an affirming the consequent being a proof? How do you do that?
What was it? Remind me what his syllogism was.
Is it a syllogism?
I don't know. Or his little thing. His if Earth. His P's and Q's.
Let me get it. I'll post it in the Coliseum if
Earth
I can.
Is flat. Then
it'll be something like
how
this.
you would measure it. If it was flat, you can measure it flat. We do measure it flat, therefore it is flat. Again. Flat is how you would measure it. If it was flat, you can measure it flat. We do measure it flat, therefore it is flat. Again. Flat is how you would measure it. If it was flat, you can measure it flat. We do measure it flat, therefore it is flat.
There you go. So that's Nathan Oakley.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Now, he's going to bring a book out, right? And he's going to go out and he's going to go and promote his book. Do you think somebody might happen to ask him about his affirming the consequent?
No.
Within the structure of his own, how do you think Nathan Oakley might react were somebody to point out Nathan Oakley has an affirming the consequent?
How would he react? He would obviously react how he's already said so, right? He's saying it's axiomatic. It's necessary. It's a necessary precondition for measurement. Therefore, it must be true for any measurements to be true. Just like he's saying.
He's convinced that the Earth's measured flat. Like, how do you take that dream that Nathan Oakley has spent 10 years constructing? You know, this belief that he's an author, that, you know, he's the flat Earth guy. Like everybody else, according to Nathan Oakley, all of the other flat earthers are fart sniffing dweebs. And they don't hold a patch on him because you're all conspiracy freaks or whatever, right? Nathan Oakley's the only true flat earther because he's got rid of his belief that the Earth's measured flat. He knows it, but he knows that he hasn't done it. He's not done any measurements. He knows that.
I don't know. I mean, it's. I don't know. It's true. It's if his definition of flat is an extension of a straight line into space, then that would just be what it would be true.
Okay, so then the affirming the consequent would be valid.
Yeah, why not?
If it was a straight line.
If what he means, right, when he says it's measured flat, if he means whatever, the measurement is like
straight.
Yeah, it's establishing straightness over the distance. Then yeah, that would follow.
That the affirming the consequent would be valid. It's good to know that you're one of the regular flat earthers from the arena.
I don't know. It would be true. Like, I mean, those are the choices we're given. That either you can extend a straight line, in reality, or you can't.
So would you say that extending a straight line would be a flat Earth measurement?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be mathematical, right?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
And you would use the mathematical straight line as a flat Earth proof of measuring the Earth flat, so you could affirm the consequent for Nathan Oakley?
No, just so you can have a measurement.
It's a good job that Nathan has people like you hanging around, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't hang out with Nathan much, but that's the choices we're given. Right? It's either you can or you cannot extend a straight line in reality. The reference that they will use on the globe, the one, maybe not the real globe, but the one that I'm told is true, would then change the position of the straight line to be. It would change the position of the points on the straight line, which would make it not a straight line.
Sounds like you're talking nonsense, to be honest. It sounds like you're a flat earther flapping to support Nathan Oakley and he's affirming the consequence.
No, it has nothing to do with Nathan Oakley exactly, except for that he's
because that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about the fallacies embedded within the heart of flat Earth, since they've obviously been annihilated with the sun circles and stuff.
I guess.
This is no tanks. This is just the first one, right? We thought, in order for us to explain how logic works, then there's nothing easier than explaining the affirming the consequent, right? Because they're words that people haven't really heard of.
Well, the affirmative consequent, you think it's a fallacy for what you think it's wrong, right? For what reason? Does it not elucidate what is true? What is the issue you have with
it? I don't have an issue with affirming the consequent. It speaks perfectly for what it is.
Is it the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do?
Well, have you not heard Nathan Oakley call it? He calls it a formal logical fallacy. So,
well, I'm still confused on his
fallacies are good.
So let's say I said, if I was a professional weightlifter, I could lift 1,000 pounds.
I just say you could lift weights.
I can lift 1,000 pounds. Therefore, I'm a professional wrestler. That's an affirming.
Just say if I'm a professional weightlifter, I can lift weights. I can lift weights. Therefore, and according to Bev, that's false because it's affirming the consequence. I'm not sure if that's true.
Is it? Yeah, I'm not sure it is either. I always thought that was it was circular reasoning where your premise, the conclusion, the premise basically has a conclusion baked into it.
Yeah, can you not see the antecedent and consequent relationship, the P and the Q?
Explain it. I didn't take the class on your server with Rob, so walk us through that.
It's basically how you form an argument, right?
So in his argument, what's the
statement?
What's the antecedent and what's the consequent?
If the Earth is flat, simple.
That's the antecedent or the consequent?
That's the antecedent, right? That's your starting statement.
Okay. And then, we're doing what's the consequent?
Well, that's the point. That's the whole point of understanding how logical understanding works. What is the consequent of if the Earth is flat?
I don't.
You have to make sure that you mind your P's and Q's. Well, Nathan,
you said that
Nathan
earlier.
Plates it, says that it would be measured flat.
Okay.
That's Nathan's understanding. Yeah, of Nathan's understanding of his P and Q statement.
Well, what's the antecedent? What's the consequent? In Nathan's,
if the Earth is
invalid
flat,
one.
Yeah, the if statement is the P, the antecedent. If the Earth is flat, P, then it would be measured flat. Q. Nathan Oakley's structure.
That then is the consequent, Kinky.
Yeah, so the Q statement would be the consequent. But Nathan then goes on to say the Earth is measured flat, which is an affirmation of the Q statement, which is the consequent. He's literally affirmed the consequent.
I never thought that that's what the affirming the consequent is, but maybe you're right.
Maybe it would be something that most people you'd expect to come from a debating background and formulating arguments would sort of understand. At least the P and the Q statement, because
I'm trying to figure out
a long time ago.
Make sure you guys understand it. When
what Bev is getting, what Bev is like really getting at Oakley about is Oakley would berate people for affirming the consequent in regards to gravity, space, whatever, and now he's not recognizing it himself.
He's built his entire argument around it, which would seem to state that he doesn't even understand what affirming the consequent actually is. He's just used words before in the past. Like most people do, you know, you just say the words from the arena and people follow a script. It's repetition over and over, saying the same thing. And people not understanding what's going on. And they just pick up the words and imagine they've formulated an idea of what those words and the structure of them are.
Right. Is this relation? What's your opinion? If the table was flat, it would measure flat. It measures flat, therefore the table is flat. Is the table Is the table flat or not?
The way you've just structured that is exactly an affirming the consequent. It doesn't matter what you put there, right? The way you've structured it is literally affirming the consequent.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But what's the problem?
It's a fallacy.
Why do you like? I know the fallacy. I know the argument that you're begging. It's begging the question, meaning that
it's
not able to.
It's affirming the consequent.
Yeah, what's the problem with that? If the definition is true, then it's true. What's the problem? That's affirming the consequent. What's the problem?
But he hasn't done it though. He hasn't done it. He hasn't measured the Earth flat.
But
he's failed to find somebody. He says everybody else does. He's so far failed to find somebody who does do it, who come forward.
It doesn't really matter about the measuring part. It doesn't really matter.
No, but it does. It does. It probably maybe it does.
It's affirming the consequent, whether or not he's actually measured anything or done anything like that. It's
I'm not
structured as an affirming the consequent.
Okay, let me.
I agree. I don't care. I just want to point out. I don't care about the truth. I just want to point out. I don't care that it's true or not true. My issue with affirming the consequent only is that it's internal and doesn't give you. It's just internal, which would be axiomatic, and no external way to falsify it. That's the only issue I see with affirming the consequent. Unless there's another one you can lay out.
See, what I would argue, Bev, is that if you said if Earth is flat, then we could measure it flat. We can measure it flat. Therefore, Earth is flat. That would be affirming the consequence to me. But the two statements, he's not saying they're not a. Hold on, but the two statements aren't identical
because you've used a could statement. So you'd be adding inductive.
No, you can have
logic into it.
No, you could have inductive with a can in it.
You put could.
I don't think that automatically makes the argument inductive.
No, the could would make it inductive, but we're not dealing with that. We're just talking about the basic structure of forming an argument.
Why doesn't it bring about? Why is it not truth bearing? That's, I guess, maybe I'll just ask it like
because
that.
Because it's an affirming the consequent.
But that's just circular. You're just affirming the consequent there. It's a circular. Why is it not truth bearing?
Yep, that's true actually.
Because it's affirming. Have you even?
So you're doing it right now.
Have you even tried Googling affirming the consequent? Just to check.
First time I ever heard of it. The first time I ever heard it, I just Googled it to make sure I knew what it meant. But No Tanks is right. You did just do an affirming the consequent. That was a good catch.
No big deal.
Stating that affirming the
we all do it. We all do it from time to time.
A statement that you can make about something else.
Well, the reason I asked you, what's the reason that affirming the consequent is not truth bearing? And you said it's because it's affirming the consequent. And if it was affirming the consequent, it would not be truth bearing.
It's a
therefore, consequent is not truth bearing. It's just you're going to the circle there.
Yeah. It's a fallacy.
You told me one tank.
Basically,
like
you have like a situation where you make an observation. The globe model has curated their rules of perspective and light bending and what the horizon is and all this stuff. Okay, they've got the rules and they've got their model. Flat Earth comes along and makes their rules, changes their perspective a little bit. Not to say it's wrong. Changes observation, redefines the horizon. Oh, it's just a limit of our vision. Not to say it's wrong. And then concave Earth comes around and makes their whole set of rules, which I don't even want to get into. So in this game of whatever it is we're doing, one can sit here and put their heads into various models. And these various models are creating the rules and, oh, it's happening because that's what it is. That's what happens on a level stationary plane. And concave Earth is, oh, well, we only can see so far because light's bending up and that's what's happening in a concave. And then the globe as well. And to wrap it up, where this assuming the consequent is in this game where I just explained, Nathan Oakley or another random person comes along and says, oh, it's flat because it measures flat. We observe it flat. Well, you see what I'm saying in short?
Well, no, really what we're doing here is pointing out and affirming the consequent is a fallacy, right? That you should be aware of within this arena of debate. Now, we all know that you flat earthers and the globe guys have a backwards and forwards, right, of structured discussion. Some may say curated within this arena, but what we're saying is you best be aware that anybody looking in from the outside, you know, from the gloomy world of people looking in, they should be able to see that there's something a little bit strange in the way that you guys particularly structure your conversations.
Here's that might, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of nuts around here, but here's what this Google search says, if you're interested. It says affirming the consequent is a formal logical fallacy that fails to bear absolute truth because it confuses sufficient conditions with the necessary preconditions.
Okay. So it doesn't find truth. It's not a truth finding situation. And for you to structure a statement or two in that way isn't going to help anybody, is it?
No, I mean, that's what it's saying, that a fallacy because it confuses sufficient conditions, meaning, and it gives an example, just because an event may be or can cause an outcome, it doesn't mean that it will. And it's the only thing that can cause that outcome. But in the case of this, and that's kind of the thing you kind of honed in on, Pinky, for saying, well, you didn't do it because you said it could be, right? But to make a Euclidean measurement, it can't be any other way. It has to be straight. So it does fulfill, in that instance, truth-bearing statements, according to this.
And you could just flip
shitty Google definition.
I think you could just flip it and say, if we measure Earth flat, then Earth is flat. We measure Earth flat, therefore Earth is flat. That would be the correct form. And maybe Nathan just he just got dyslexic and he flipped those around. That's what I'm guessing happened because I'm sure he knows, how it works.
Like it says the defeater here, Bev, is if it addresses the necessary preconditions, then it is truth-bearing. Just a heads up. But this is, again, this looks like it's grabbed from some YouTube clip. I don't know how great this is of a definition.
Oh, I mean, at least we'll get somewhere, right? Because like you're doing right now, you're trying to justify and affirming the consequent for Nathan Oakley. And the discussion should be around this sort of thing. Because Nathan Oakley's going to be going on a book tour, right? And promoting Flat Earth. So he's going to be your representative here in this, no thanks.
But now you
Nathan
confuse
Oakley.
me.
He's going to be your leader proposing all of these understandings. Now, if you have to go around afterwards explaining to everybody how it can be allowed to be affirming the consequent, and it could be true if certain preconceived ideas are placed around it within the arena. I mean, it might work within the arena, but how honest do you think you'll be if it outside as well? Do you reckon you could
it works outside like a charm, dude? I told I told Omni earlier today. I was like, dude, with you guys, there's no convincing you guys of anything. If I say the sky is blue, you're gonna be like, nope, it's black. But I go out in the world and people don't disagree. I go, dude, levels horizontal. They're like, yeah, man, pound it, peace out, for sure, flatness, whatever. Like, it's really easy. They're not crazy like the people in here. But I do feel like you're kind of pulling a little switch on me here, because you said we were just using Nathan Oakley as an example, right? And he's not my president. But then you said we were talking about just the logic of it, and he's just like kind of like the example. Now you switched it and said, no, now we're talking specifically about Oakley. Is it the logic or the Oakley? Which one are we talking about? You're getting me.
We're talking about affirming the consequent.
Nathan
Oakley's Nathan Oakley's the one doing it, and until now, right? I've never heard anybody trying to justify and affirming the consequent as a truth bearing thing. Like, you're the first, so
that's right.
You've made some shadows today for me. You've literally helped, right? So now I know that there are people like you who are willing to be able to help Nathan Oakley within.
What do you mean, you people?
The consequent. Well, I mean, you're the only one that I know. So I know that there is at least one person that's
I helped him too
to come.
Hey, don't leave me out.
No,
I showed Nathan how to reformat his argument to make it valid. You didn't have any problem with that when I restated it.
It's an argument now. You've given an argument that was reformulated.
Correct. Yeah. I hopefully Nathan watches this and he knows if he just switches his P, if he just switches his P and Q, then it'll be good, and you won't be able to like correct him on that part anymore.
What's just swapping around? So
yeah, let me say it again. Let me say it again.
If the Earth is measured flat, then the Earth would be flat. The Earth is flat.
No. No. Here, you want me to say it?
That would be an affirming the consequent with the P and the Q swap round.
Yeah. Well, you can't swap them all out. If the Earth is measured flat, then it's flat. Right?
Yeah.
The Earth is measured flat, therefore it's flat.
Right.
There we go.
Just
PQ.
said the same. You've just said the same statement twice.
Correct.
Haven't you?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in the definition.
Is that an argument? Is that how you form arguments? By just repeating the same statement twice?
I'm an inductive guy. This stuff goes over my head. It's pretty advanced.
Yeah.
All right. I don't like.
At least you're trying to help them. Right?
I don't like Nathan Oakley. How can we pick on him and beat him up? I didn't mean to distract you from it. He is a bad person.
Yes, I'm with you. Let's go back and talk about his the fisting fantasies.
No,
that was pretty weird.
That needs another time. What we're dealing with here is just the logical fallacy that's been brought around by Nathan Oakley. I don't need to attack the man. We're talking about the thing that Nathan Oakley says. Now, obviously, you heard us last week because we talked to Whitsitt. And Whitsitt was asked to make an argument that he would state if he was going into debate. Because he did say he was going to start debating again, scientists and PhDs or whatever. And he was asked, what would be the argument that he would present for flat Earth? And do you know what he said? You want to take a guess?
I'll bet what he said is that if the person arguing with him can't concede to geostationary, then he won't debate flat Earth with them because they're bad faith.
No, he said if the Earth was flat, then we would measure it flat. And then it took us a bit, and I eventually got to ask him if the Earth was measured flat, and he said, yes, it was measured flat. We then asked who, because we know that Nathan Oakley's not measured it flat. He assumes everybody else has measured it flat. But Whitsitt said that he has. He's done it. Whitsitt's measured the Earth flat. So Whitsitt has affirmed the consequent for Nathan. And his own argument, actually. It was he was the guy that made that argument, the same as Nathan Oakley's affirming the consequence. So Whitsitt's not only Nathan Oakley, flat earther, it's Whitsitt as well. And I don't know how many others, because when we tried to talk to them about these fallacies that may be occurring, they get really upset and they block and ban us. So we can't ever really follow it through. But people like No Tanks, he's our closest, person that he's at least willing to come and try and affirm, trying to is he trying to help, or I don't know. I mean, that we know that there are people that are like that, though, right? Because this is a weird, I would just like to point out.
I would just like to point out that Bev talks this shit, right? About Bev has blocked me and banned me from all potential on the level servers.
It's not my server,
and he's a hypocrite. He'll say it's not mine; it's Emma's server.
It's not Emma's.
Yet it was whatever. I'll say some gay shit, but we all know it's Bev's server, and he has decided to keep me out, like some kind of flat Earth,
same happened to me.
Flat Earth Society member.
The same happened to me. I'm no longer allowed on the OTL server.
That's right. All right, let's hear Bev bitch about it now. How he's getting singled out.
A good word, Bev. Can you put in a good word for the server owner?
Talking to you guys, right?
We want to go there. We want to be in your house taking the shit.
Can you get Tanks
what
and
we're
I
putting out
reinstated?
We're trying to do some logic here, right? And also we're trying to promote this worldwide debate server, right? As a friendly place for people to come and do these shows live.
All right, well, just don't talk shit like you get banned from places, like you don't do the same thing. That's all.
No, I'm pointing out that there's a fallacy here, right? For the flat earthers to talk about. It should give them content, right? The fixing of the problems that they have, rather than just hiding away from it, assuming they can just block and ban people, and then thinking that the fallacy then disappears because of that. It doesn't. The fallacy is still there.
You haven't really specified that. You specified that some arbitrary man named it a fallacy. You haven't really gone through why it is fallacious in the reasoning that doesn't bear truth. You haven't done that. You've just so far adopted another man's definition.
I've made arguments. In fact, I made an argument to state that the Earth is not flat due to vertical measurements. The differing of vertical measurements, right, on the elevation profiles. I pointed that out to Nathan. Nathan concluded that yes, therefore the Earth is not flat, right? But then, after the fact that I showed him an argument that states the Earth is not flat, he decided to come up with the Earth being measured flat. So Nathan Oakley has developed this thing after an argument has already been presented to him that states that the Earth is not flat. I mean, let's face it. We all know that the Earth isn't flat. Everybody knows it, right? It's just within this particular arena, there's a group of people that still believe it is measured flat. They don't know how it's measured flat. They don't know how they would do it. They've aligned themselves and thought that surveyors do it for them, but they don't. That's why I came into this arena. But I mean, the facts of reality being measured not flat, right, are irrelevant to the point that we're trying to make here today. Is about logic and how to form an argument, right? A structure, the basics of how to formulate an argument to derive a truth. And if you do it like this, like Nathan Oakley's doing it right now, you're going to start off with a fallacy. And that's not a good founding to start from, particularly as you have to chain the reasoning backwards. So if your starting point is a fallacious one, then how do you link the chain of reasoning to get you where you are, if where you are is a fallacy?
Yeah, that would be if it's truly a fallacy. Like if it were true, like this is like an argument. If it were true that all things in reality were at minimal 3D, 3 dimensions, 3 distinctions, then every valid argument would have 3 distinct references. Every valid argument does have 3 distinct references. Therefore, reality is fundamentally 3D. Nathan Oakley's argument has only 2 dimensions, 2 references. So it's a bad argument.
Yeah, it's not even an argument. It's a fallacy. It's the best example of an affirming the consequent fallacy that there is. It's that good. It could be wrote into books to explain the affirming the consequent fallacy.
That's the definition of it. Yeah, that's funny.
It's better than that one.
I actually think the one that you did, Bev, the one you did would be even a better example because it would be sort of funny. You know, like it's kind of like ironic that you make the affirming the consequent fallacy about the affirming the consequent fallacy. That would be funny.
I did that though. Don't give credit to Beth. I'm going down in the history books.
Tanks did it. I'm riding his coattails.
Are you talking about why the affirming the consequent fallacy is a fallacy, or why it doesn't derive the truth?
Yeah, why the affirming the consequent does not bear truth because, that was it.
Because it's a fallacy.
Because it's a fallacy. It's a fallacy.
You think that's an affirming the consequent?
Yeah, and the way that you know that it doesn't
because
bear
affirming
truth
the consequent is a fallacy.
Right.
Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. It's good to know that the structure of anybody that does want to come into this arena and attempt to structure an argument. How the people within the arena. Well, I mean, it's not just you.
It's me. I think Tanks and I would be better if we got access to the on the level server where we could learn these valuable skills.
Well, it's just about discussion. It's about a dialectic. And unfortunately, some people can't cross that bridge. And now I've been trying to find out why that is over the years. And the only thing I can come to a conclusion is that once you accept a contradiction within your internal logic, then, I don't think you can get it back. I don't think you can undo that. I think it's slightly madness, like a modern madness.
Only if it's like... only if it's very important to whatever's fundamental to that person. Only if it's like foundational or tied to something foundational. If you accept like something stupid, like I don't know, chocolate ice cream is actually just vanilla ice cream, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, that's nonsense.
It is, isn't it? It's probably just vanilla ice cream, and then they put chocolate in it.
I'm just saying something that's not. But yeah, if it's deeper, I can. I don't know. I'm just saying, Bev. I think there's a way out for everybody. That's what I think. That's
I'm thinking that what you're showing now is a consequence of you not being able to form a P and a Q statement, right?
No. You're affirming the consequent right now, Bev, and you need to stop that. It's fallacious.
What's your best argument? Over the years that you've been around here in the arena.
Yeah, in order to, well, I mean, my favorite one is my favorite one in like in regards to like globe or flat Earth is that in order to establish the Earth as a globe, then a straight line would have to maintain over distance. It cannot, because the ultimate reference frame for measurement in their paradigm is a curving one, so they can't even establish a straight line to get their globe. Something along the lines of that. I could put it together into an argument, but that's the idea. That's my favorite one.
Okay, are you allowing for a non-Euclidean straight, or are you just assuming that there's only Euclidean straight?
Yeah, only Euclidean straight. That's just by definition.
But we do know that, like we were talking earlier, that globe is non-Euclidean. So where does the Euclidean straight come into that when we know globe is non-Euclidean? Because we do know the globe is non-Euclidean, right?
Give us the globe is non-Euclidean in a more formal. Give it in a P and a Q so we can digest it better.
I don't know. It's a we know that. Do you know that the globe's non-Euclidean?
Yeah, because of that, then you can't prove it with what we have access to.
See if both of you can talk at once.
Ready, one.
Oh, we did.
There we go. Let's go.
Oh no, you did it right on top of me, so that's good.
Okay. So, logic lesson for tonight. I think we've learned, and most people have, that if you ever attempt to come into the arena, you're going to be met with people like this that want to obfuscate.
Dude, you're obfuscating. We're trying to nail you down and get you to
justify and affirming the consequent.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with no tanks. Because remember, I tried to ask you a simple question about the shape of Earth, and you couldn't answer it. You kept changing.
No, I did say. I said it's globe.
Obfuscating. I gave a really specific question.
I've said it many times. It's globe.
Is Earth an oblate
globe
spheroid?
Is non-Euclidean. No,
watch. I can ask no tanks. No tanks can even do it. No tanks. Is Earth an oblate spheroid?
No.
Oh, see how easy it is to answer the question.
There we go.
I rest my case.
So this, yes, that is exactly what you want to structure as your entirety of whatever, right? Because you've got a chain of reasoning that led you to come to that conclusion, right?
Well, a question isn't a conclusion. I'll give you my conclusion though. This is an inductive argument. It's not a deductive. It's just an observation I made that people that tend to hang out in OTL servers are unable to answer the question, is Earth an oblate spheroid? That's my argument. So I'm just adding more data to my inductive argument, which it's being further supported.
Okay. Well, we will be structuring a proof of globe, right? To show how the horizontal distance actually proves globe. Now, there's a lot of people around here, and I'm assuming Nathan Oakley, in his structuring of measuring flat, is going to assume that horizontal is one of the ways that he, structures the measurement. But unfortunately, I'm presuming that most people know this, right? Most people that work and, deal with measurements in reality, they know also that those horizontal distances that we use in reality can prove globe, right? They have to. Because the horizontal distances are definitely real in reality. And they have been for quite a long time. I knew this because I've done land surveying. I'm one of those people that Nathan Oakley assumes measures the Earth flat. But when I came into this arena, I came in to tell the flat earthers that the Earth's not measured flat. You don't even need to say that the Earth's flat, because there's a whole group of people that'll just ask you if you agree with the shape. And if you don't even know what they're talking about or don't know what the shape is and have no proof of that, well, then they'll call you a flat earther. So there's a lot of people, I think, that have led Nathan Oakley into believing that horizontal has got something to do with flat Earth. I mean, I don't know why. I came along to tell them that.
You want me to go through it with you, like the logical and the consequent relationship?
For what?
On how we establish horizontal, how horizontal must be, must abide by the law of identity in order for us to measure elevation change in the vertical axis.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then this thing that's called gravity perpendicular to a point cannot be the thing that instantiates the true nature of water at rest.
What's perpendicular to a point? What's that?
Exactly. So if the logic of the real globe leads you to state things such as it's perpendicular at a point, then that can't be truth-bearing.
But that was you that said that.
Yeah, right. I can give you both the arguments. Why one
What led you to say that?
Yeah, the claim on the table that most people on the on the face of the Earth hold to be true, that the Earth is a sphere and gravity will bend water at rest.
Not a sphere. Not a sphere. One tanks. Listen.
No,
I don't know how many times we've said this, right? Globe is non-Euclidean. Right? A sphere is Euclidean, right? So normal reasoning, most people would be able to understand that because globe is non-Euclidean, it's not a sphere.
No, right. It's participating.
So why would you then assume that most people assume that?
What they say is a sphere is the force of gravity to a point, right? So gravity is the sphere.
What they say.
Right? And then Earth is the geoid.
One tanks, why are you they saying?
Call me fucking one tanks. One more time, pussy. It's no tanks. Are you doing that on purpose? Call me one deck, or that's a drunken mistake? All right.
Drunken.
Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, what was your question?
Why are you they saying? Like what? Who are you speaking for right now? Because we are talking about how you form a logical argument and a dialectic occurs between this. Like so, what is the purpose of you doing what you're doing?
I'm speaking to you, right? So to kind of elucidate on the distinction between horizontal. It doesn't matter if it's horizontal; it can be vertical. It can be any degree change from either of those references. What must be true over distance in order to measure angles, etc. Which we do to measure that the Earth is not flat.
Horizontal or vertical must be true over distance in order for us to measure an angle.
Not right. So the opposite of that, right? The opposite of over distance would be at a point, right? Yeah, so does that make any sense? That there's horizontal at a point?
Have you measured an angle?
Yeah. So if it doesn't make any sense to you,
to a light in the sky, to a light in the sky.
I've tried to do that. Not Polaris. So much with the lights in the sky. I don't do well with the lights in the sky.
Measured an angle to Polaris?
I tried. I mean, I gave it a weak attempt once upon a time, but
if you had, you would realize that you can measure that angle at a point, right? Because you have a location when you're doing that, right? So you're both at a point and measuring an angle.
No, you're not at a point, but it depends on what you define. Like as a whole. Is it a whole location? How big is a whole location for you? Is this how? And you can answer that, right? But is this how you know what horizontal is? By the lights in the sky? Is that how we got here?
How do I not horizontal?
Like when I bring up horizontal, and then you say, "But the lights in the sky."
You were going to make an argument about horizontal.
No, I'm going to give you the distinction between what we're told, right, by the they-sayers, right? They say, right, the powers that be, the authority, the school books, right? No, the school books, like literally a fucking school book.
You are literally becoming one of they, because you're about to say it, right? You're becoming one of them by saying.
I guess if they offer you a choice, and the choice is that horizontal